We're going to go ahead and wait for Commissioner Yanio, that she requested an additional 5-minute extension before she gets here. So we're going to go ahead and start at 7:05. Thank you. Hello.
Ay, niña, tengo esta pierna trabada de mala manera. No.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the City of Sweetwater Special Commission meeting. Meeting date Tuesday, October 23rd, 2018 at 7:04 p.m. Commission Chambers, 500 Southwest, 109th Avenue. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Clerk will note the absence of Mayor Lopez and Commissioners Borrero and Barreto.
Let's all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's stay all risen for the invocation. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you now, Lord, and we give you thanks, Father, for being in this blessed country, Father. Right now, Lord, we continue to pray for all these people, Father, that are currently being subjugated by their government, Father. Lord, we pray that you grant them the strength and the wisdom that they need, Lord, to overcome these trials. Lord, we pray for the administration of this country, Father, and the direction that they're headed, Lord. We pray that all decisions be made according to your will, Father, for the betterment of this country. Lord, right now we pray especially for our first responders and our military and our police officers, Lord. I pray that you be with them, Father, that you protect them on a daily basis, Father, that you keep them from harm's way, Lord, so that they may prosper this city, Lord, and our residents may prosper as well. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Good evening.
Public comments?
None.
Carlos, I know that there was a request for moving up item 6, but I kind of would like their input. I mean, if they're here already on the investment policy. So.
Well, I can do that too. I just wanted to see if they wanted to present first, but if you don't mind, I have no problem. You guys don't mind if I? Okay.
Perfect. Thank you. So item number 5, resolution of the Sweetwater City Commission to adopt investment policy dated October 16, 2018 and providing for effective date. Mayor Lopez, Carlos.
Yeah. Yeah, the investment plan that I think you guys have a copy because we did send it to you guys. Basically is a mandate that is done through the state of Florida before we start doing any investment with the city. So between myself, the city attorney, and obviously I have talked to other cities like the city of Miami, city of Homestead, and Doral. I've seen what they got, the type of plan. If you look at the plan, basically I think the city attorney was able to send you a copy of what the law is. Luisito, I think I don't see the PowerPoint presentation here. I see it now. Yeah, the PowerPoint presentation. Oh, well, I guess I'll have to do it the other way. Yeah, the PowerPoint presentation is basically going to go along with the what the law mandates. Basically, just to give you a little update. When I came here and we had our first meeting, I told you that we need to get away from having property taxes being our first of income for the city. We need to move into other things too. Look here, I'm not an expert in investment, but I'm smart enough to hire experts or talk to other experts. So one of the things that we want to do is, first, you can't do an investment plan in the state of Florida unless you develop an investment policy. And that's the only thing I'm presenting today. We're not doing any investment. We're not doing anything. All we're doing is, here's the policy, which goes along with the law, which is Florida Statute Section 218.415. And if you read it, if you read the law and you read the investment policy, it goes along side by side. The only thing that you're going to see is going to be on the top of investments. And this is basically talking to other cities. This is the safest in the top of investments that we will be looking into. And if there's other types of investment that we want to include into our policy and you think there's something else, we will go ahead and put it in here. No investment will be made until we bring it to the commission. No money will be touched until we know it's safe. Safe for, in case we invest something, we were looking for short-term investment. Probably the longest term investment will be 6 months and nothing more than that. If we think that we're going to invest in something more with high risk, that's where we're going to hire experts. And those experts are going to come down here and going to tell you what type of investment we got and what kind of risk we're running into. The money that we want to invest, obviously, is money that can be liquidated immediately to cover any debts that we have. But this is extra funds. This is funds that we want them to be used to produce money for us. This has never been done. I don't think it's been done in the city of Sweetwater, but this is something that needs to be done. We need to develop a policy, and with that policy, we're writing internal controls. And is there any thoughts? I don't know if you guys have had any a chance to look at it. The investment policy. This is nothing new that other cities are not doing. This is something that basically other cities are doing it much better than we are. And this is something that if we want to move away from just considering property taxes, probably we need to start investing money that we have excess for money to be, I guess, producing money for us.
Through the chair.
Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. I have a few concerns. First one, you said you're looking for short-term investments, no more than 6 months.
For right now.
And we're going to be investing in the stock market, correct?
That could be a possibility. We're probably going to be investing more in CDs, something more low risk, something that we can just start and see how it's going to come with us. Like I said, I'm not an expert, but we will talk to experts, whether it's in our banks. I think we bank with Regents, or with other type of investments. The more experts you get, the high quality of experts you get, the more money you're gonna have to pay.
So for CDs, you're looking at a 5% return over 6 months.
We could have that.
I think we should table this item. I'll explain why. When you're talking about investing a financial instrument in any market, you need more than just policies. You need graphs. You need to speak to actuaries. You need to do a lot more than just tell your staff, which is you, hey, come up with a policy, let's cut and paste from other municipalities, let's move forward. The Pittsburgh School Board has one of the healthiest portfolios in the nation. They actually own a large percentage of property in Miami-Dade County. If we're going to talk about investments, I don't feel comfortable making a short-term investment of 6 months using our funds or any sort of financial instrument. When it comes to investments, you have to diversify. You have to have 25% high risk, 50% on brown caps and whatnot. Very steady stocks. We're not looking at going to invest in penny stocks and hoping and crossing our fingers that that stock reaches $74.
Yeah.
So I would do a little more research.
Yeah.
I don't feel comfortable voting on this item today solely because it's so much content. We just got this packet 4 days ago. So to read 48 pages to make a decision in 4 days, my stance is to table the item. So with that, I yield.
Commissioner Villanueva, I don't think
Marcus is fine.
Yeah, Marcus, I don't think you misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not talking about investment. I'm talking about establishing a policy
I heard you.
which is mandated by the state of Florida.
I heard you. And that policy, if I can,
Yeah.
that policy it's more than just voting yes on this policy. It is studying this and saying, I like this, I like that, I like this, I like that, and that is why I'm saying to table the item. I'm not throwing I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I'm just saying, personally, I need more time to study this in order to say yes to this policy. Because ultimately, if we vote yes, this is now the policy.
Yeah.
Right?
The first 18 pages is the policy.
Right.
The rest, page 19 to 48, are just definition of terms.
Yeah.
So the first 18 pages is the heart of the investment policy. You're welcome to sit with us, with the finance department and the city attorney, because all we did is follow the state law. We didn't put anything else that was not mandated by the state law.
Carlos, quick question. Maybe I just skimmed over it, but I haven't seen anywhere where any of the investment are going to be passed through the commission for approval.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Because I see a lot of reports, and I appreciate the quarterly reports being presented to the commission, but no investment in the city should go out without the approval of the commission.
Yeah, I'll look into that. I think there was anything above $3,000, obviously, that the city is about to expand. It has to go over the commission, and that's something maybe we need to write in there. You're probably right about that.
Move for discussion.
Well,
Move for discussion.
okay. Do I have a second? I'll second it. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Are there any nays?
Nay.
Nay. Nay.
Okay, motion dies. So you're gonna go ahead and, there's a couple things that obviously need to be added. And I know you said pretty much anything over $3,000 by the city commission. My whole thing is I don't want to get into a situation where we go ahead and we start moving forward, and even on the budget we start saying, hey, well, we're gonna go ahead and appropriate these funds for investments, and then because the funds are already appropriated for investments, it basically gives a carte blanche to the administration to go ahead and just start investing all willy-nilly. And then, hey, here you go, here's your quarterly report. I want to see some language written in there that gives the commission some control, because it's still city funds.
I'll talk to the city attorney. We'll put something in there in the language that will basically go along with our charter.
Okay.
And then go from there.
Okay.
Through the chair.
Go ahead.
That's the problem. What you just said, our charter. So, first things first, he doesn't follow the charter. Secondly, our charter states that he is the CEO of the city, which means he has complete autonomy on how he wants to manage the funds. So, which is why I said we should table this item. Because if we're going to move forward on investing a financial instrument in any market, whether real estate, money market, CD, etc., the only way that I would even entertain it is if the commission as a body decided the direction of the investment based on professional guidance. Secondly, we need to hire a broker. Correct?
You would only hire a broker if you want to do the investment. You're not going to hire a broker to be our, just to give us guidance, because if you decide to invest money on a particular thing, that's where you're going to hire the broker at.
I would strongly suggest, if we are talking about investing a financial instrument
Yes.
into any market,
Yes.
that we seek counsel from a professional,
Yes.
i.e. a broker,
Yes.
whether it's stock market,
Yes.
real estate.
Yes.
So I understand that the city will go based on your recommendation, your staff's recommendation, but there are certain
Julito,
things
you want to
that,
put PowerPoint back again?
but there are certain things that we don't know.
Yes.
So not to mention the broker's cut and percentage and blah
Yes.
blah. And with that, I yield.
Go ahead, Ray. You want to say something?
The only issue I was going to say was that, you know, the way you write the plan, you can either give the finance director the sort of, not decision-making authority, but the right to seek the investment. I guess you can bring the investment over to the commission decides. We would only hire a broker for a specific transaction, because certain transactions have to be done through a brokerage house. I think what you're saying, which is another option as well, is no, we don't want him making the decisions. We want a broker to control it. So that's
No.
something that needs to be in the plan, or however you figure it out.
As rebuttal, my statement is wherever we are going to potentially invest a financial instrument has to be decided by the commission. Whatever percentage is going to be invested has to be decided by the commission. So that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
As well as you can't invest in certain markets without a broker.
Correct.
So
Okay.
that's why I said we're gonna hire a broker.
Correct. Okay. My apologies.
That's okay. I forgive you.
And I don't know whether, and maybe the city attorney can do some research, I don't know whether our charter is written into that matter. I mean, maybe we need to do something to look at the charter and see whether, because remember, we have never done investment in this city that I know of. So that might be something that we need to look at to see whether we have those provisions in the charter and maybe marry that up with the charter. Does that make sense?
Ray, does our charter have
I don't believe the charter. I mean, it's the investment plan is, and how this came up was the administration wanted to invest some money. In doing the research, we realized that I want to look, that the statute requires the city to have an investment plan, and so I asked for a copy of the investment plan. The city's never had an investment plan before, so an investment plan was prepared, modeled after what some other cities do. The charter, I don't believe, I can double check, but I don't believe the charter talks about an investment plan.
Because
I don't think the city's ever. Has the city ever invested money?
I don't think so either. And my thing is, why, or not why, but how would this play out if our charter has nothing on the
statutory?
Matter, it goes straight to statute.
Goes straight to statute. The correct statute cited. If you look at that statute, it says it. If the city, any municipality wants to invest in, CDs, whatever, no risk, they have to have an investment plan.
Got it.
Okay.
To the chair, just a quick question. I don't know if you consider this an investment, but what happened with the city bought those pieces of land? That then we have to sell it because we need the money.
That's an investment.
That was an investment, isn't it?
Yepers.
That's why, it came to my mind. Hold on. It was investment buying land.
That one's a little different because we don't need counsel or professional to help
Just
us.
to purchase
Yeah,
money
but we
to
just
buy
needed an
land.
agent and a real estate attorney. But that one's different. When you're talking about investing in money markets or
No,
mutual
I
funds or
understand what investment's
CDs.
all about. I was concerning about the actually the city did invest.
Yeah, there was a few things that went wrong in that deal.
Yeah, exactly, but it did invest.
There was a few things that went
in
wrong in that deal.
Matter of fact,
Certain people
it
got
It has
lands
a
they
list
should have
of
got
what you
land.
invest in.
That's
Okay.
what
It's
I'm
not in
saying.
there.
So,
Okay.
with that being said, there is a motion to defer this item. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Villanueva,
To defer, yes.
Commissioner Duazo,
Yes.
Commissioner Yanio,
Yes.
Commissioner Holtz Alonso,
Yes.
President Diaz,
Yes.
it passes.
Well, to defer.
To defer.
Defer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Carlos.
Good.
All right.
Thank you.
Item number 6, discussion acceptance of city audit for the fiscal year ended September 30th, 2017. Mayor Lopez. Carlos.
As you know, I think we were given, we passed around the audit. I don't know if you all have
Yes.
copies, but I do have extra copies here. The CPA from Carlos Cueva is gonna go ahead and introduce that to you guys.
Thank you, Carlos. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Jerry Lonatis, and I'm the Audit Manager with Rodriguez Storybound Company. I'm just here to briefly go over the audit of the financial statements of the fiscal year ended September 30th, 2017. In regards to the audit opinion, the opinion was an unmodified opinion, and we encountered some audit adjustments that were correctly posted by management to their accounting. During the course of the audit, we did not have any disagreements with management. In regards to findings, there were 2 findings that were either corrected or no longer valid, so they were removed from the report, and there were no new findings issued in the current audit report. To touch on just some of the balances real quick, as of 9/30/17, the total unrestricted cash in the governmental funds was approximately $3.2 million. The accounts receivable as of year end was approximately $1.8 million, and that predominantly consisted of taxes and fees that were earned during the year and then collected subsequent to year end. In regards to some of the liabilities and the accrued expenses, those were approximately $1.9 million. Out of that whole balance, $580,000 was owed to the police pension. The long-term debt, which consists of various loans and notes and
I'm sorry
long-term
to interrupt.
liabilities.
It was owed to the police pension?
Police pension, correct?
Was it because it was being underfunded?
Have
Yes,
the
it's
big-
underfunded.
Yes.
Yeah, that's been an ongoing.
We have been ongoing for a long time.
Just making sure. Thank you.
No problem. In terms of the long-term debt, like I said, it includes loans and notes payable, long-term liabilities that amounted to approximately $2.1 million. That's not including the accrued compensated absences or the net pension liabilities for the 2 pensions. The total fund balance in the general fund was approximately $2.9 million at year end. Out of that balance, $2.6 million was unrestricted. Now, to point out, there are still deficits in the Mildred Claude Pepper Center Fund and the half-cent tax fund. So, ultimately, the general fund would have to cover those deficits if those funds don't start generating profits.
What are the deficits?
How much?
Sorry?
What are the deficits?
The deficits, I'll tell you now, hold on. And this is as of 9/30/17, remember. So,
9/30/17.
correct.
Yes.
Okay, so the half-cent tax fund had a deficit of 109,000. That actually improved because it actually had an increase of 100,000. So the deficit improved, but it still has a deficit of 109. And then the senior center fund, that one has a deficit of, that one's a big one, $665,000. And that's just coming from approximately, I don't know how many, like 2 or 3 years ago. Basically, there were issues with the grants, the grant revenues coming in, but they were still providing the same level of service. So the expenses pretty much remained the same, and the revenues weren't coming in.
When the report, can I find these deficits? I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. On page 13 is, you'll see the Mildred Claude Pepper Center Fund. There's a separate column. The half-cent tax fund is towards the back.
Through the chair.
Hold on. I'm for the Mildred on page 13.
Correct.
I'm seeing for the Mildred Claude Pepper Center, negative 100. Oh, never mind. I see the bottom at the bottom.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That, yeah.
All right. Go ahead.
Sir, you said that there was some deficits due to grant funding.
Well, it's coming from several years ago. They
What
had-
several? Are you talking about the OIG investigation?
Right, when that all, right.
In 2014.
Yes, around that time.
Okay. And that deficit was not paid back, you're saying?
Well, there were grants funding that they were counting on that never got collected, but they were still providing the same level of service, so the expenses had to get paid.
Okay, so these are numbers that have already been paid. That were just a deficit in this report's year. Is that accurate?
No, the deficit started at 500-something thousand. In the current year, it just increased. They had another loss of about 100,000.
So you're saying it was under budgeted, or a combination of under budget and grant loss funding?
Right.
Okay, thank you. One more question through the chair.
Go ahead.
You said there were two findings that were eliminated. What were those findings?
Okay, so one of the findings was a deteriorating financial conditions. That was a finding that existed in 15 and 16. So that one was corrected this year.
How was it corrected?
There's certain financial conditions and financial indicators that the state auditor general has templates and work papers. That's basically based on various parameters that's compared to the previous 5 years, and it's compared to other trends and other cities and industry in the same size. So it has to do with the level of fund balance, the amount of long-term debt versus the fund balance, the revenues coming in.
And how was it corrected? Because this is the year where the mayor cried wolf and said the city's in financial emergency, we don't have money, we're going bankrupt. So how was it corrected?
Well, I mean, like I said, 15 and 16, it was definitely deteriorating.
Right.
In 17, it was corrected through the increase in the millage. That brought in significant amount of
What
revenue.
was the deficit that you're referring to in 15, 16?
I mean, I don't have it off. I'm not looking at it now, but
Offhand, more or less?
It was less than $1 million, like $500,000.
there was a deficit, an unassigned fund balance deficit of about $600,000 in 15.
Right.
Yeah, something like that.
So what you're saying is that in the following fiscal year, the 16-17 fiscal year, we took care of that.
Yeah.
It was never budgeted for.
What do you mean it wasn't budgeted for?
We didn't budget for that. We didn't
For
say
the
line
revenue
item
that-
33.
The increase in tax revenues? That had to be.
No. Well, I didn't vote on the increased tax revenues, but in order for a deficit to be paid, or a loan or a debt to be paid,
Mhm.
it has to come on a line item. It has to be approved by the commission, and then that's the only way that those funds can be spent.
Yeah,
that
I know.
deficit.
Yeah, I know. I remember that
So I want to see how that.
there was a debt that was paid off through the sale of land. I do remember that.
Right.
And that, that
The set of land is.
right, that had to go through the commission. So they sold the land and then they paid off the debt. So that, like I said, that decreased the long-term debt. So that helps eliminate the deteriorating financial conditions as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Finding out so much information with you. Thank you. And I'm sorry, what was the second deficit?
That was on page 52.
If I may for a second, on page 4 of the report,
Wait, page 4.
it says management discussion and analysis. Okay. There's at the bottom, there's an explanation on the change in deteriorating financial conditions.
Okay, so my point with that was just just to be aware that those deficits still exist in those funds. So the unassigned fund balance in the general fund was 2.6 million, as I mentioned. That is definitely an improvement from the previous years. However, general practices, they do dictate that ideally you would want to have at least 3 months worth of general fund expenditures and unassigned fund balance. So there is still room for improvement there to increase the reserves. And so, I mean, basically in closing, I'd like to thank the finance department. They've been improving the last several years. The addition of Carlos, I think, is going to help, and they are definitely making strides to improve the accounting and reporting in general with the city. So if you have any other questions.
Have you guys ever dealt with investments?
I mean,
for other clients?
We've dealt with investments in terms of other cities that have investments in their books, and doing our audit, testing, and analysis and things like that. They're very, as he mentioned, they're very similar, the policies, because I believe they basically tailor it off of the state statute. I've seen cities that invest in very conservatively. They don't invest in the stock market or anything like that. Some will invest, but the policy should dictate, what the city's intention is and how they want the investments to be held.
Okay.
So, but there's fair value. There's more technical accounting things with the investments that we worry about when we look at that. But
Through the chair.
Sounds good. Go ahead.
How close do you guys come to a forensic audit?
in doing this audit,
Yes, sir.
not close at all.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
I'm looking and I can't find it.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously seen this report. So can you show me our impact fees in this report?
Yeah. Okay, so impact fees.
And I'm gonna take it easy on you guys. I've jabbed at you guys enough in the past, so I'm gonna put a leash on it.
No, that's fine. Hold on, let me find this page here. Okay, so the impact fees,
What page?
you won't see it. It's going to be within a line item of license permits and fees.
What page?
Now on page 13.
Okay.
In revenues, about 4 or 5 lines down. Now, off the top of my head, I honestly don't remember. I know I believe a majority of the impact fees that came in recently it wasn't in 17, I don't believe. But I know there's a reserve. There was a restriction of cash related to the impact fees that weren't yet spent.
So we have an issue because, again, I'm going to take it easy on you. Hope you're going to appreciate that. So when it comes to impact fees, I'm looking at, for example, police impact fees.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me how
Right.
much is in there right now?
No,
Specifically?
within here I can't, but
See the problem? Park impact fees. I can go on and on and on.
Right.
The issue that we're having as a dais, as a board, is we don't know how much we have in what account. We don't know what has been spent in what account. We don't know. Which is precisely why now we have $3.2 million in reserves. We've never budgeted for reserves. So this is not your problem, but to
right.
premise my statement, we budget, mayor only spends 70% of it, and voila, we have 3.2 million in reserves. Hey, however we got there, that's great. But we still have no idea what we have. And based on your report, although very detailed, it still leaves room for error, which is not your fault, not your doing, because you don't know that's what we're looking for. We're just looking for as much information as humanly possible, and in here we don't have it.
Yeah, I mean, I would encourage you, because I would request the finance department can show reports of impact fees, because there's a separate line item revenue account for that, for park, police, general.
So why is it in here?
I mean, it's grouped. There's accounts are grouped by line item. We can certainly separate it into a separate line item. That's not a problem. I mean, we could do that in 18. That's not a problem. It's just, within revenue sharing, there's different accounts that are grouped. If you can't have, we're not going to have 100 lines here.
Right. But we can't spend certain funds from other line items, for example, for parks. It has to be specifically for parks.
Right. Exactly.
Which is why we would want as much detail as possible, much information as possible.
Right.
Not trying to incur more work on you guys. It's
Right.
just we don't have the information.
Right. No. I think.
How do we make an informed decision?
I think monthly reports, things like that, can certainly give that level of detail. Absolutely.
Well, we'd love that too, but that's not happening. Thank you, sir. With that, I yield.
You're welcome. Carlos, thank you.
I'm sorry, I had a question before you went.
Yeah.
Now, I know we were just talking about investments. What investments does the city currently have?
Currently, the city does not have any investments in the general operating activity of the city. The only investments are with the elected officials' pension and the police pension, which is,
So when I go to page 27 here, where it says fair value measurements, equity securities, common stocks, mutual funds.
That's right. That's the pensions. That's the police pension and predominantly the police pension.
Okay.
Yeah.
But why is that there?
It's considered a component unit of the city.
But we have no say-so on those funds.
You hold it in a fiduciary capacity. It's a technical. I don't know if you want to expand on that one, but
Just to let you know, the pension plans are not the type of investments that will be used in our investment plan. That's a different type of investment.
Right.
This is more something different.
We understand.
So,
But
I was just trying to see if there was something in the charter that
no, we don't want
would
to
tie into what
No.
we're trying to do with
That is
investments.
just strictly pensions.
Okay.
Commissioner, to your point, and I was gonna mention this for the 2017 budget. All of you made some hard decisions on behalf of the citizens to increase your millage rate and deal with some expenses.
16, 17.
16, 17, which is the year we're auditing, and that was supposed to bring the city, perhaps not. That was supposed to leave the city with some minimal reserves. A couple of things happened. There was some excess funds on the sale of the land that provided a gain to the city, and it went into the fund, and then the city received some additional utility taxes that were above the amounts that were budgeted by the city. Having said that, it was a good year. It built up a nice reserve. You guys made some hard choices. I think at the end of the day, all of you work together somehow, and at the end of 17, the city is in a much better financial position than it was at the end of 16. I think that has continued. The addition of Carlos and the finance department is going to provide better accountability because they're properly staffed now, and I mean, Mr. Valentine was a
nice guy.
Was a nice guy, but he didn't provide what the city needed at the time. I think Carlos brings
What about
that
the guy previous to that?
on his experience. So, Mr. Valentine provided a nice break for Annie, Annie and the accounting staff, because all of a sudden there was an additional buffer on some issues, and but I think the city's definitely moving in the right direction. I pass by here, not often, but enough that I see the skyline of the city, how it's moving up, and I think it's an outstanding future, and I think you're all moving in the right direction. For our part, we're very thankful to all of you and the mayor's office and the finance department, and we love the progress that's happened in the last couple of years, and we hope to continue to be part of your solution. So.
Thank you.
Yeah?
I actually had a question. I'm sorry. Not because this just reminded me. We did have the tragedy that occurred with the pedestrian bridge. How does that affect the joint venture that we have with them as far as our matching? Because I know that, and again, I don't know the details of everything that's going on, but I'm assuming that FIU is probably going after the bonding company to finish paying out for the bridge.
I don't know. I haven't. I don't know, Carlos, if you can.
I have not been involved in that, but I know that I don't see anything in the finance department that is looking towards that. Maybe on the legal side.
We invested $600,000 in that bridge.
I'm sorry?
We invested $600,000 in the bridge. I think what.
Not that one though. We're the $600,000 is for the bridge that's crossing the canal
Yes.
back into the city.
Yes, the canal.
That was never constructed.
It was never constructed.
But I understand. So there's nothing.
To my knowledge, when we finish the audit, there is no claim on the city, no commitment that the city that we've seen, and that's as of a couple of months ago.
Because that was when I saw as of September 30th, 2017, the city has provided $66,667 in accordance with the agreement, and I didn't know that we had paid out any portion because that had not started.
That might be related to the transportation,
Yeah,
the trolleys, things like that.
The city has a joint venture with the transportation.
UTMA.
For
It is
FIU.
TMA, yeah.
Yeah.
TMA.
And that's I believe that's what that's referring to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
Do we have a deficit with UTMA?
No.
No, not with UTMA, but CITT.
How?
Well, I guess this is something that I'll be talking to tomorrow in the CITT. When they did their audit, there were some findings that were done, and that was way prior to me being here. To this date, I think what we decided to do is to go into a reimbursement process. We spend the money, and then they pay us back. Where in the past, when we started with them, it was a $400,000 grant, but something happened. I don't know much about the details on that, but I know that it went from a grant to a reimbursement process, and now we marry up with UTMA, where they're providing a lot of the administrative portion of that. So
So
I'm not smart enough to talk about it too much. So
No, I doubt that very highly, sir. All right, cool.
So we need a motion to accept?
I think this is just discussion, no?
No, it says an acceptance.
Yeah, we have to approve.
No, yeah, you have to approve
You have
the
to
audit,
approve it,
yeah.
yes, okay, put a motion.
Second.
I'm sorry, really quick. Is there a breakdown? Because I'm seeing here on page 48 where it talks about note 1, the budgets and budgetary accounting, note 2, excess of expenditures of appropriation. I would like to see a breakdown in note 2. It says, I mean, the one that kind of jumps out at me is the unfavorable line item variances were caused by salaries being higher than anticipated, unexpected costs for vehicle repairs and workmen's compensation insurance, and various other unexpected expenditures. I would like to see what the constitution or what the definition of unexpected expenditures is.
So in other words, anything that's vague, we'd like to know what it means.
It's on page 48.
48.
We had
would,
an audit.
again, you would have to see this line item trial balance to see specifically which, which expense accounts, are over. A lot of times what happens with that is, could be technical issues, like if there's an audit adjustment for an accrual or things like that.
Still would like to see that.
Yeah, but you can easily see that if you get a trial balance compared to the budget to see specifically which expenses it's compared to.
You're working on that, right, Carlos?
I'll work on it.
So through the chair, can we respectfully request to add these things that we've spoken about to this report before approval? Would you guys be willing to do that?
Like I already have a motion on the floor.
That's okay.
We can do an addendum with the detail of the breakdown of the line item.
Yeah, we can do that. We'll work on it. We'll
I
talk.
mean, we have it. It's
Yes,
just,
just to provide it to.
Okay.
Alright. So would you like to amend the motion to include the addendum? Or
Yes. Then I was
approve
gonna-
contingent upon the addendum being
We're gonna be
provided?
able to get an addendum, right?
see, we'll
How-
we'll do a.
Then with the,
additional
motion with the
supplementary
addendum,
report,
yes,
and add that detail.
exactly.
Okay.
I mean, you can approve it with the addendum
With the
and then
addendum,
say
that's
what
what-
the addendum
exactly.
is. The problem is that we don't have the addendum in front of us.
Right.
So we can't approve something that we don't know what it is.
That's,
So, which is why I'm saying, I know some of us are eager to get this done, but let's do this the right way. Listen, it's a great report. It's just that there's some things that are left to the unknown, and these things are the issues that we brought up. So, the general consensus between the legislative body and the administration has been a cloak and dagger game, where we don't have any information whatsoever, and all of a sudden we have $3.2 million in reserves. Wow, that's amazing. So this doesn't tell us how that happened. It doesn't tell us what we have in our accounts. It doesn't tell us we have an impact in concurrency fees. It doesn't specify. It doesn't specify a lot, and a lot of the stuff that we need is not in here. It's vague enough. It's not, and that's not your doing. I'm not accusing you. I'm just saying, I want to see it, and to get this 4 days ago, and to read it in 4 days is.
Commissioner, I understand.
Yeah.
The report is a document that the city prepares to comply with the Auditor General and distribute, and
Right.
it's not meant to be a financial analysis tool for the commission to perhaps make some decisions. It requires more information.
Right.
That's what presented in the
Is
report.
this the city's CAFR report?
That's a city's CAFR.
Okay. So, I would recommend that we defer this item. You tell us how much time you need to add all the information, because the CAFR report, so the commission understands, is a statutory requirement. In the state of Florida, it's a statutory requirement. Now, for years, it's my understanding that we were not turning in the CAFR report on time, correct?
Correct?
So now we're going to turn in a CAFR report on time. Awesome, but it's going to be incomplete. This is a problem.
Well,
And I say incomplete. Not let me clarify. Not incomplete on your doing. You don't know what it is we need or want. You're going by the guidance of staff. Now, when I say I'd like to know we have an impact to concurrency fees, and you guys respond by saying, well, it's in a pool, and they're all meddled in there, well, that's not sufficient. I want to read it and see line item by line item, and know how much we have in that actual balance.
And-
That's all I want.
and just to, because
that
we
make any
have no
sense?
issue. We have no issue in providing the information. I want to clarify that report is in compliance with the Auditor General,
Oh, I'm aware.
and adding more information at your request is our pleasure. That's definitely not an issue.
I hope I was clear where I wasn't, and the only reason why I'm interrupting is I hope I was clear where I wasn't accusing your organization.
No.
I was simply saying that you guys don't know what it is we want, or at least what I want.
Right.
I can't speak on behalf of my colleagues. I just want more information because we're fed the least amount of information in the entire city, and we're responsible as the legislative body. So we don't have any financial view access to our system. We don't know how much money's in there in each account. We don't know how many accounts we have. We don't know anything other than what's placed in front of us. So now I have a document that tells us what we have. Ooh, I get information, and the information that I want isn't in here. That's all I'm saying. So I'm not bashing you guys. I've done it in the past, but I'm not bashing you guys. I just prefer we defer this item based on what you tell us how much time you need. I'll be more than happy to come back here. You tell us, hey, listen, give me 2 weeks, we'll get this done. We can individually contact the finance department and say, hey, I'd like this information, I'd like that information, that we can research it. And it gives you enough time. That's my respectful request to my colleagues.
I believe. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, please. I'm finished.
No, I believe the information is available. I mean,
yes.
The numbers are not going to change because we've done what we've done.
Right.
They're condensed as part of the guidelines that we follow. But we can provide the detailed reports for. And I'd say for the November meeting, we should be able to have it. If
when does the report due?
Well, the only what I wanted to mention about, and I think Mr. Trevor was alluding to that, is that this report is designed to comply with certain state statutes, and it's not designed to comply with what the commission wants to see as far. And I understand the commission. I sit here every meeting. And I understand the issues of not being given enough information, but yet I need to make decisions on this. It's not right. I understand that, but that's not what this report is for. All these additional items, that's just designed to comply with a state statute. You guys, if you don't get what you want, you guys don't approve it. I understand that, but I just wanted to point that out. That it's not that the product is defective. It's just simply that what Commissioner Villanueva is asking for, that's not what that's designed for. But I would just want to point that out.
To the chair.
Go ahead.
Can we go ahead and approve this and then finance to give you all the details that Commissioner Villanueva wants? Because the numbers are not going to change. The only thing we're going to see is the detail.
That's what I was going to say, and you said it right. This is by statute. What you want, we can do that. We can do that with them. So if you want more detail on anything else, let us know. We will provide the details and do that.
Through the chair, respectfully, I know that is per statute. That's why I referred to it as a CAFR report.
Yes.
I'm very familiar with this report.
Yes.
I've seen a lot of them. But I'm certain that it's not your doing, sir. You're a professional and a gentleman, and I don't think anybody up here is going to disagree with me. But unfortunately, you have a boss. And if your boss tells you, delay, don't do it, I'm not talking about your character. I'm just talking about the games that are being played here. Now, I am more than happy to approve this report that supersedes the state statute. I know what they are. Mm-hmm. When I sat in the office, I had 18 of these. And half of them were done improperly or late. Not by his office, by our organization, by Sweetwater. Mm-hmm. So I'm very familiar. This is a very hot topic. But approving this document without receiving the information or the intelligence that we're requesting, I'm certain we're never going to receive it. Not by Mr. Treva's organization or not by you or your staff. It's just not going to happen. Because we voted for financial view of our logo system. He vetoed it. We overturned the veto. That was 9 months ago. We still don't have it. And that's by charter. So I'm telling you, if we go ahead and say, let's go ahead and approve this, we're never going to get the information, folks. So the decision is yours.
Yeah, we have a motion.
We do have a motion. We had a second.
And a second.
Move.
And a second.
The motion is to
Second.
Number 6.
Yes.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Duaso,
Yes.
Commissioner Yanio,
Yes.
Commissioner Holtz
Yes.
Alonso, Commissioner Villanueva,
No.
President Diaz.
When can you get that information over to us?
Hold your breath.
Within days or weeks.
Yeah, I think you'll have it for your November meeting. If we run into an issue tomorrow when we look at it, we'll let you know through the clerk. But the information is there. It's putting it together and attaching a supplementary information report to let you know what we did and what responsibility we take for the information.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay, it passes 4-1.
4-1.
Yeah, 4-1.
4-1.
Thank.
All right. Guys, I don't wanna hold my breath and turn the color of my jacket. I'm gonna say that right now. I really expect this information to be delivered to us in a timely
will.
manner. And then with that
And
being
I'll
said,
make sure of it.
thank you, Carlos.
One administrative issue, telephones are ready.
Mhm.
So if you need your telephone, get with the IT department. He needs to program your telephone. So I'll talk to Dan or Pedro because he was here waiting for you guys. It takes a little bit to get the phones done, but we do have the phones for all of you.
How long do you know?
It takes about 45 minutes to
That's
an
fine.
hour or so.
Okay. Item number 7, adjournment.
Adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carlos, ¿qué
Any nays?
pues?
Anybody want to stay here? Just kidding.
Good night, folks.
Good night.